all received letters, I believe, from the governor of South Carolina, Governor Beasley. You've received a letter from our senior senator, Strom Thurmond, 93 years old, the Speaker, President Pro Tem of the United States Senate and Chairman of the Armed Forces Committee, and his letter made a direct reference to the role of the USS Lowndes at Iwo Jima, Okinawa, in the Pacific area. You received a letter, I think, from Senator John Drummond, a state senator who, like Senator Thurmond, was a veteran of World War II, a fighter pilot who was shot down prisoner of war. And he made reference to how secure they felt when they saw the Navy fleet beneath them as they were flying to their various missions. Well, I guess our main engagement during our time in the USS Lowndes in the Navy was the Battle of Iwo Jima. And here in Myrtle Beach, we have several Marines who are survivors of Iwo Jima. And with us today, with their wives, are Bob Strachan and James Griffin. Would you and your wives both stand up? I don't believe that Frank Osterly or Donald Schenck were able to be here. There's one other Marine who came to Iwo Jima on our ship. His name was Donald Linhart, and he lived right near Myrtle Beach here. And he was all excited, he and his wife, about coming here. He wanted to shake hands with every one of you here because there was something he remembered when he got off that ship and before he hit the beach. And he talked about the coxswain of the boat, the one who drove the landing boat to the beach. The advice he was giving the Marines as they went ashore, he said, keep your heads low when you hit that beach. And he always remembered that. Unfortunately, he will not be able to be here, but because just within the last 3 months, both Mr. Linhart and his wife have passed away. But I know they so much wanted to be here. And one of the main reasons, I guess, that you chose to meet here in Myrtle Beach is the fact that our ship was named for a distinguished statesman from South Carolina, William Lowndes. He served with distinction in the South Carolina legislature and the U.S. Congress. He chaired the Navy Committee, the Military Committee, the Ways and Means Committee, and he was very much responsible for building up a strong armed forces and a strong Navy back in the 1800s when he served. One unfortunate thing this morning, 2 of his direct descendants were at the airport this morning waiting to fly out. William Lowndes III and William Lowndes IV, the great-great-grandson and great-great-great-great-great-grandson of William Lowndes. They couldn't get off the ground, but William Lowndes IV is planning to meet us at the Broadway at the beach after we come back from Brook Green Gardens today. Meanwhile, we'll turn right now to a special presentation to be made by a distinguished member of our South Carolina legislature. He's State Representative Mark Kelly from Myrtle Beach. He serves on some very important committees in the state legislature, including the Transportation Committee. He is the Republican whip of the House of Representatives. He served for 2 consecutive terms here, and he is unopposed for re-election, so he'll be serving for another term. Mark Kelly is a native of Buffalo, New York. Mark will be stepping up where everybody can see you. A native of Buffalo, and he served for 4 years in the United States Air Force. He served in the Korean Air.
Well, I'm not quite that old.
Vietnam, okay. In other areas, and he came to Myrtle Beach Air Force Base and fell in love with Myrtle Beach. So he and his wife and the 3 children live here, and he's the owner of a very popular sports bar and restaurant with an Irish theme, Shamrocks, located not very far from here. But he was an author of a resolution in the South Carolina General Assembly this year that relates directly to our ship and the man for whom the ship is named. So we turn you now to Representative Mark Kelly.
Thank you, Fred. And
in reading some of the information that I had on the ship that Fred had sent me, I recently found out that Fred was a pharmacist on that ship. I didn't know that. And so I figured as pharmacists, they do a lot in curing headaches. Well, in Fred's final years, kind of winding down to retirement, he became the lobbyist for an organization here called COMBO, which is a tourism active organization that we have along the Grand Strand. So I want you all to know today that Mr. Brinkman went from somebody that cured headaches to somebody that gave a bunch of us in the legislature headaches. There is opposite and equal reactions to everything that happens. So, but I thank Mr. Brinkman and all of you today to give me this great honor to be able to present this resolution. As Fred has mentioned, I am a Vietnam veteran, and I want to thank you all for what you did in World War II. And I'm kind of, you have to excuse me, I'm kind of like Ashby. I get a bit choked up when I talk about it. But it was people like you that gave somebody like me a chance to come from Buffalo, New York, to the state of South Carolina. Born in a blue-collar family, a construction family, that now represents the people of this great area of Myrtle Beach in the legislature in the state of South Carolina. And it's the freedom that we have in this country that allows me to do that. And I thank you. And with that, we'll try to clear our throat again here. And I would like at this time, if I could, Mr. Brinkman, to make to at least read the resolution. And I understand that later this afternoon we will present it to one of the descendants of Mr. Lowndes, who was a great legislative, active person in the state of South Carolina and in this country. So without further ado, I'd like to read the concurrent resolution that we have. And the concurrent resolution in recognizing the USS Lowndes in 1996 reunion in South Carolina in memory of the distinguished South Carolinian for whom this World War II Navy ship was named. Whereas the USS Lowndes APA-154, a naval assault personnel attack ship of World War II, is named for William Lowndes, a South Carolina statesman with outstanding achievements in South Carolina General Assembly and in the United States Congress during the early 19th century. And whereas crew members of the USS Lowndes will recognize this distinguished South Carolinian and his state by holding their 1996 reunion in Myrtle Beach, and whereas during his relatively short life from 1782 to 1822, William Lowndes compiled an incredible record of accomplishments as a member of the South Carolina House of Representatives and the U.S. House of Representatives. Whereas in Congress he was a strong advocate of increasing the national military and naval strength and served as chairman of the House Committee on Naval Affairs as well as chairman of Ways and Means Committee and other key leadership positions. And whereas he was nominated for President of the United States by the South Carolina legislature but declined to accept, and prominent statesman Henry Clay described Lowndes as the wisest man I have ever known. And whereas the states of Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi all recognize the outstanding achievements of this distinguished South Carolinian and named counties for him in each of their respective states. And whereas the United States Navy made a decision to place the name of this great South Carolinian on one of World War II ships. And whereas being launched in July of 1944, the USS Lowndes engaged in World War II operations involving the transport of troops in the Pacific area and a participation in the battles of Iwo Jima and Okinawa, including landing operations by the ship's beach battalion during the assault on Iwo Jima. And whereas the USS Lowndes Reunion Group has chosen to recognize this great South Carolinian by coming to his home state for the reunion at Myrtle Beach on October 17th through 20th, 1996, now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives, the Senate concurring, that William Lowndes be memorialized in recognition of his outstanding leadership and service to South Carolina and to the United States, including his accomplishments that resulted in the decision to name the USS Lowndes APA-154 in his memory. Be it further resolved that the USS Lowndes Reunion be extended a cordial welcome to South Carolina for this 1996 reunion at Myrtle Beach, and commendations and appreciations be extended to all members of the USS Lowndes for their exemplary service in our nation in World War II. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Scouts, I think, need to be coming up here. You know, Bud never claims that he's in charge of anything in the reunion, but all of us know that he is the glue that keeps everything together. This organizing group, and so you have that to Bud. McHenry, Illinois. Bud is
Welcome.
from. Thank you.
I accept this on behalf of all of our members. Thank you.
I think this concludes everything we have to do here, and as I mentioned, we're hopeful of having William Lowndes III, Bill Lowndes. I don't think that Willie, his son, will be able to be there, but he is going to attempt, assuming they can get off the ground in Spartanburg, to meet us at Broadway at the beach after we visit Brook Green Gardens. Thank you, Steve Jones, and all of your staff here at the Convention Center for allowing us to make this stop on our tour. Thank you, Ashby, and thank you, Representative Mark Kelly. And our Marines who were with us and who survived the Battle of Iwo Jima, we thank you for being here.
We all say, I don't know whether to thank you for caring. They are not. I was a soldier in APA-154, the USS Lowndes, and we do appreciate any help that y'all gave us there, because we need it. They almost beat us.
That's a wonderful facility. Thank you, sir. I just trying to remember my name.
If we could all gather around as close as you can under the shade here, and we'll get right on. I know you're hungry after the Brook Green Gardens trip, and you can make your way then to whatever restaurants that you see fit. I think, as you know, William Lowndes III and William Lowndes IV, Bill and Willie, were all set to leave the airport at Spartanburg early this morning to join us at the Convention Center, but there was a heavy fog in the airport in Spartanburg, and they were unable to get off the ground. But William Lowndes III has taken time to be with us here for just a few minutes so that we can see him and he can be cute. These are all my former shipmates from the USS Lowndes, APA-154, and that's very important. With all of them are the Lowndes mufflers. That's what all of my ladies put up with us for all these years of fall. And you know, there's even some within the group, sons and daughters, that seem to be working toward perpetuating so that's what like the one. We covered started about who William Lowndes was, the great statesman from South Carolina, the congressman who did so many things, supported the military, nominated as president of the United States by our South Carolina Assembly, and other things that we identified. And so we're real honored to have direct descendants of his still here in South Carolina. And I guess this all ties in with the main reason why we're having this year. William Lowndes III, Bill Lowndes, first of all, his great-great-grandfather, the original Lowndes, had low country roots in the coastal part of the state. But he grew up in Greenville and lived in Spartanburg for some time. He's a graduate of the Citadel and had many honors when he was at the Citadel there. He was a civil engineer, and he is chairman now of his family business in Spartanburg. It's a Tyndall Concrete Products Company. He's very active in business and civic affairs. He has been the vestryman and other offices in the church, president of Rotary Club, and many other activities. His wife is Henrietta. He has 2 daughters and 1 son, who is William Lowndes IV, Willie Lowndes, who also is married and has 2 children. He's a graduate of Georgia Tech and a civil engineer, and he's vice chairman of the family business. But anyhow, we're real pleased to have Bill Lowndes here, and we're going to turn things over now to Representative Mark Kelly, who will do a little brief presentation of what he did this morning. I'm the author, was passed unanimously by the General Assembly.
Thank you, Brad. Can we start a whole speech all over again? No, that's not. I would like to say, on behalf of the General Assembly, Mr. Lowndes, we're glad to have you down here in Myrtle Beach today and to be able to unite you with the people that served on the ship that was named after your great-great-grandfather. And we're glad to have you down in the sunshine of Myrtle Beach. And I'd like to present to you at this time a resolution that we had done in the House that reads, basically the end of it reads, be it resolved by the House of Representatives, the Senate concurring, that William Lowndes be memorialized in recognition of his outstanding leadership and service to South Carolina and to the United States, including his accomplishments that resulted in the decision to name the USS Lowndes APA-154 in his memory. At this time, sir, I'd like to present you with the resolution. Thank you very much.
This is especially appreciated in view of my lateness for the meeting this morning. And I thank you for your patience and for being here. This is a real pleasure to me, and I'm awfully sorry my son was not able to be here. And he too, he was with me this morning at 7:30 in Spartanburg, ready to fly. And there was a little fog, a little too much to take off, so we thought maybe wait a half an hour and we could go, and we waited a half hour, and it was much worse. It was down to less than a quarter of a mile visibility. So finally, I was able to take off, and he had another engagement that he could not change, and he asked me to please bring you his apologies and ask for your forgiveness. But this is wonderful having you here. I know you've been adequately welcomed to our state. I'd like to add my welcome and Willie's to those that you've already received. This is a marvelous place, and I'm happy to be able to come here. It's been a number of years since I've been to Myrtle Beach myself. In World War II, when the war started, I was only 10 years old, so I didn't serve in that war, but I had 2 uncles in the Navy, one in the Pacific and one in the Aleutians. And so I, like most boys my age, followed your exploits with more than casual interest. And I, along with all of my contemporaries, were mighty proud of what was done at Iwo Jima and Okinawa, and I understand that the less beautiful of this group were in those 2 fights. And we were extremely proud of our relatives who were in the war, and proud of you and your comrades in arms who beat the Japanese in the Pacific and preserved the freedom of our great country. When the Korean War came along, I was about the right age for that one, and went into the Army for 2 years, and I've regretted since that we didn't do what you've done. It's a marvelous thing to stay in touch with your comrades and to see them every now and then and to enjoy their better halves as you are doing, and I know this has brought you a great deal of pleasure through the years, and I wish I could have done the same thing. William Lowndes has, I guess, the same sort of relationship to your ship that he has to me. You all named for it. And he was the one your ship was named for. I was indirectly named for. I was named for my grandfather, and your ship was named for his great-grandfather. And when I visited my grandfather during the summers, he lived in Charleston and we lived in Greenville. He told me a great deal about this forebear, and unfortunately, I don't have very good memory for such things, and got all of it before my children came along. So, in order to teach them something about it, I was right thankful that Professor Brinkman down at the University of Georgia wrote and published a little biography of William Lowndes, so that to make up and substitute for my bad memory. I had about an hour and a half speech here. But Fred said that he thought that the speech might last longer than your legs and theirs, so I'll cut it short. I'll say that only that during the congressional debates, I believe I saw that there's people from Missouri here, and there were congressional debates on the subject of Missouri coming into the United States. And during those, John W. Taylor, the congressman from New York, and William Lowndes were on opposite sides and often confronted each other on the House floor. And after Lowndes died, Taylor made the following remarks, which I thought were a nice compliment to someone who was politically opposed to him. The highest and best hopes of this country look to William Lowndes for their fulfillment. Most honorable office in the civilized world, chief magistrate of this free people, would have been illustrated by his virtues and talents. The manners, the most unassuming, the patriotism, the most disinterested, the morals, the most pure, the attainment of the first rank in literature and science. He added the virtues of decision and prudence, so happily combined, so harmoniously united, that we know not which most to admire: the firmness with which he pursued his purpose, or the gentleness with which he disarmed opposition. His arguments were made not to enjoy the triumphs of victory, but to convince the judgment of his hearer, and when the success of his efforts were most signal, his humility was most conspicuous. From reading Professor Brinkman's biography, I've learned enough about William Lowndes to know for sure that he would be pleased that the USS Lowndes was named for him, and he would indeed be proud of the crew of that ship, of your patriotism and courage that played an important part in winning the victory for us in the Pacific, and thereby preserving the freedom of the United States. Thanks again for letting us join you. We hope you're having a great reunion and that you'll soon visit us again.
Get on right where we got off. Oh, yeah, right where we got off. Yeah, we could even split one, I think.
sailor, what shall we do?